welcome to Synergy Football League News Power Rankings broadcast. We got me, Hunter, and Ben. We're going to go ahead and talk about a couple things tonight, go over a couple little things that have been going on, and see who's going to be better and what type of history we got going on. Ben's going to ask me a couple of questions. Go ahead, Ben.
All right, guys, welcome to the broadcast. We're just going to take a look at the power rankings, or where everybody stands now that the season just started. Fresh start, see where everybody's at, maybe talk about some trades, and see what Hunter thinks, since he already knows the history of the league and what he thinks might change up a little bit this year. But first, let's go ahead and go into the hot news and talk about some trades. Let's go into the trades real quick and let's talk about. Well, first of all, we have to talk about the Calvin Johnson trade. At 33 years old, he has been traded to the Redskins. Now, what do you think about that?
I think it's definitely crazy. I mean, Calvin Johnson's been with the corporation for a long time, and I mean, he's really given it his all. I mean, so a lot of people are saying he's a Hall of Famer, and why someone would trade him is crazy. But honestly, I mean, the Lions just as an organization see a different opening or a different way to go with younger players at this point. Calvin over the last 2 years has done a lot for him, but it's just not enough. Not as much as like players like Eric Ebron or Sean Mannion, who came in after they let go Stafford. I mean, it's just he's been there for so long, and I think it was just time that the organization let him go. And he was okay with it too. I heard he was definitely ready to go. He saw himself doing a couple more things before he leaves the game. So he wanted to try it in a different place, different town, different city.
Yeah, but the question still remains: can he still play? I mean, he was traded for a left guard. Of all positions, a left guard. You would think that they would, go if Calvin Johnson would be traded, it would be for a first round pick, and you maybe a little bit earlier in his career. But can he still play?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's Calvin Johnson, man. I mean, you're talking about a player who, even since he come into the game, he was, full blown, just the best. I mean, he's a beast. I mean, he really reaches up into the sky. It doesn't matter how old he gets. He's always going to be flying through there, catching passes. I definitely think he's still got what I definitely think he still has what he's got, um, and definitely able to make plays and get out there and show everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can always make the top play every week.
All right. Well, sticking with the Redskins, they also had a another trade. It's like they're making moves. Not sure exactly what kind of team they are, but again, they traded another offensive lineman for a superstar quarterback, um, quarterback Margarito Delgado. The Redskins offensive line, now that they're getting rid of them, so many. What is that going to do to them? I mean, do you need an offensive line, or do you think they can just, I don't know, chuck it up to Calvin Johnson?
I mean, every team needs an offensive line, man. The only thing is that you got to remember. I mean, the offensive line is one of the most important things in a team. But when you have an offensive line like the Redskins, I mean, they're doubled up on every position. I mean, they have people who have been behind these veterans for so long that, I mean, it's almost as like they've been sitting there the whole time. They're able to just pick up the position with no problem. Honestly, I think even though they've given away two people so far, they definitely have people to fill those positions. There shouldn't be too much trouble there. Honestly, I don't think.
Okay, so it looks like they said Ryan Nassib is the starter for the rest of the season, but then they go on out. They get rid of their fourth round pick when it was quarterback Kelly. He's now no longer with the team. Some issues with not being in meetings or whatnot. But now they went out and traded for this rookie quarterback. Now, could this rookie quarterback start? Now, he's a superstar in LSU, and he was drafted pretty high in the second round. Can a rookie quarterback make that much of a difference on a team that is in a rebuilding stage?
A lot of these teams have actually done that so far. I mean, it's just to go and say. I mean, you got people like Shane Chisholm on the Raiders. I mean, he came in and straight just destroyed last year. I mean, straight rookie right off the draft. I mean that team wasn't pretty much going through a rebuild, but I mean any rookie can come into this league and just own everything. I mean, you got another team actually as an example. Bears actually, if I remember, They picked up a rookie quarterback, and he did amazing. I mean, it's crazy how many teams so far have picked up a couple rookie quarterbacks. But, I mean, then again, there are some who have fallen as well. I mean, if you look at the Patriots, Nick Jordan, everyone was like, oh, Nick Jordan's going to be really good. He's a great quarterback. He did well in college, but they did horrible last year. I mean, it was bad. It was crazy. I mean, just to look at something like that happen, I mean, you really got to – it's really a 50-50 chance, man. It's nothing's perfect, but it's definitely happened before. I'm not going to say it won't happen.
No, I completely agree. And I'm pulling up Nick Jordan's stats right now. And he did get 21 touchdowns, but the 39 touchdowns. I mean, can he bounce back? Can a rookie like this, I mean, putting out a rookie drafted in the first round, can he make a comeback and, have a solid career? Or does some rookies just don't see the light, kind of like the Raiders quarterback?
I mean, it's possible, man. I mean, anyone can bounce back from anything. I mean, if Jordan's not horrible, man. I mean, I know he did bad last year. He kind of did pretty bad in that first game this year, but you got to remember he's coming back from such an awful season. He's really just got to get back in the game. As long as he can get his mindset right, he could definitely be a really good quarterback. He could come back in this.
Okay, now let's go into the power rankings, and so let's start going through each division and see where you think they're at, and see who's going to take it this year, division by division. Let's start with the AFC East, and you have the Bills, Dolphins, New York Jets, and New England Patriots. Now, what do you see coming out of there?
Honestly, I could almost see a repeat, man. It's not unheard of. I mean, Miami Dolphins are they're an unstoppable team. I mean, just about anything they do is good. They're never not bad at anything. But then again, the Buffalo Bills did do some stuff this year in the offseason, and I think they're trying to creep up. But we'll see. But I definitely think the Miami Dolphins definitely have a chance to do a repeat.
Okay, so you're calling the Dolphins coming out of the division and Super Bowl prediction already?
It's a possibility. I mean, there's obviously a lot of other teams who almost every year get right up close to it but fall short. But I mean, the Dolphins they're an amazing team, man. I mean, there's other amazing teams, but I could see them coming back for a repeat. I could definitely see it.
Okay. What do the other teams need to do to get up there and be able to beat the Miami Dolphins?
I mean, kind of got to look. I mean, just with the Patriots right off the bat. I mean, like I said, Nick Jordan's got to get his mindset right, and they could possibly come back. I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, back when Tom Brady was back there, they were the most unstoppable team. But I mean, ever since he left, it's definitely been hard for the organization. But as long as Nick Jordan can realize that he's not trying to fill Tom Brady's shoes, he's trying to fill his own shoes to be better than Tom Brady. I think he could definitely get up there and beat the Dolphins. And then you got players, or you got teams like the Jets who each year they look like they're about to do really good, and then just all of a sudden fall short. So I mean, they gotta just start not like getting into there and being like, oh, we're definitely gonna get this, and then fall short because they're gonna choke. That's a lot of times what you see from them. But then the Bills, man, like I said, they every year have a chance and they get really close, but fall short. But this year, like I said, in the offseason, they've been definitely doing some stuff. And as long as they get in there, and a lot of teams, what they got to do is they got to watch the Dolphins running back. He is a beast. He's amazing. I mean, he literally just rips through defenses. So if you can stop the run on the Dolphins, you got a good chance.
Well, he did have a big game in the Super Bowl. I was watching that, and he was ripping it when it looked like it was third and long. He would still run it and down the throat. Even doesn't even have to be on the outside. Just get in that offensive line, give that nice push, and the Dallas Cowboys could not stop it at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sure. Let's move it on to the AFC North. You got the Browns, Steelers, Bengals, and Ravens. Now, who do you have coming up top in that division?
It's definitely a hard one. I mean, it's really a tie between all of them most of the time. The Bengals haven't been good in a while, but with the new coach that just came in, I mean, he seems all right. I mean, he's talking a lot of game, nicknamed Loud Pockets. But so far,
Okay.
I mean, it seems like he's going to do all right. He lost that first game, but he might do good. But honestly, the teams that are really the big teams in that league every year, or in that division, is going to be the Browns and the Ravens. I know Coach Dorian is definitely he's a killer. He'll get you. I mean, he may lose a game or two, but he comes right back afterwards. So expect to see him winning week 2. It happens a lot. But the Browns, man, I mean, when he came into the league, that was pretty amazing. I mean, nobody ever saw him coming, and then just like an underdog, just flew into the ranks and came right into the playoffs. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, those are definitely the two biggest teams. It's hard to decide between them though, just because they're so good.
Okay, okay. All right, now let's move on to the next division, AFC South. Now, AFC South, you got the Titans, Jacksonville, the first Super Bowl champ, Houston Texans, or I'm sorry, the second Super Bowl champ, sorry, and you have the Indianapolis Colts. Now,
Hmm.
the big news is on the Houston Texans. I mean, they went 15-1, went to the playoffs, and then out of nowhere, a prayer from I guess the Madden gods was answered, and they lost within seconds of that game. I mean, that has to be so heartbroken, and or heartbreaking. That can they overcome that and be the team that they were last year?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's definitely a difficult thing to come back from something like that when you go fifth. When you win that many times and don't lose at all. I mean, they're an amazing team. They've always have been ever since that new coach came in. Uh, but to go so far and then just ruin everybody's hopes and dreams of the Texans coming back with another Super Bowl ring and the Lombardi Trophy, it's heartbreaking. It's definitely hard. But I mean, I feel like the coach could come back. He's definitely good at it. But I think those Colts might come up behind him, man. It's definitely they did really good last year, and Texans might be losing their top spot.
Gotcha. So, are you saying the Colts could take the division this year? Is that are
It's a
you going on
possibility.
record?
It's a possibility. I don't know if I want to put it down on a record, but it's a possibility, man. Nothing is guaranteed in this league.
You're
I'll tell
right.
you that right now.
Any given Sunday, it just takes one
Hmm.
game in the playoffs to make your team, to the next level. All right, moving
Hmm.
on to the AFC West. Now, we just recently just received the new coach for the San Diego Chargers. Let's see what he can do. But I mean, who are the big top dogs in this division? And what do you see in this division?
Oh man, top see, it's crazy, man. Every year, the Raiders and the Broncos are just going at it. By this point, it's almost as if it's a huge two high school rivalry games anytime these dudes play. I mean, it's huge. These guys go at it every single year. They're always at the top. I mean, it's crazy, man. A lot of people say the Raiders are the like people's favorite choice just
Hmm.
because every year he gets so close and then just can't make it. Whereas the Broncos keep stopping him right at the end, right to fall short. I mean, last year was really good though. I mean, the Raiders went further, and it was actually really awesome to see. But he just again fell short, and everybody always gets sad about it. But honestly, the game keeps going. But Raiders and Broncos, they're big teams, huge rivalry. It's just like East versus West.
Hmm.
It's definitely a huge thing when you go and watch those guys. It's crazy. But yeah, man, like you said, the Chargers got a new coach. The last coach has been here for a while, but I think it was definitely his time to leave to retire. This new coach, we'll see what he can do. Hopefully, he doesn't screw up. And then the
Now you didn't.
Chiefs, obviously,
Yeah, you didn't
every
mention
year
the
he does.
Chiefs.
They do all
What's going
right.
on with the Chiefs? What do they have to do to get to the next level and give Broncos and the Raiders a try or run for their money?
I mean, they got to be better.
They
um,
got to score more
I
points,
mean,
right?
yeah, they got to score more points. I mean, they're okay, man, but it's not the most amazing thing. But I mean, it's a possibility they could do a lot different this year. I mean, with new coaching and all that stuff, it's
Correct.
definitely possible. Um, but like I said, every other year before that, they're not the most amazing team. They're not a team that you're like, oh, hey, remember the Chiefs? Is not a lot you remember from. They're nothing remarkable has come out of that team to really talk about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ever since they gave away Travis Kelsey to the Raiders,
Mm,
I mean, it
mm.
was, I mean, that's where nothing really happened after that point.
In your own
The Raiders
division,
just took all the glory and everything.
that
Hmm.
reminds me of the DeMarco Murray trade from the Cowboys to the Eagles. I mean, to your
Yep,
own
for sure,
division, I'm
man.
not sure if I could do that. It's just bringing in a top tier tight end to your opposite team that you have to face twice a year. I mean, maybe it'll work out in the long run, but to trade into your own division, that takes some balls.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. Especially with the Demarco Murray. I mean, that's a prime example. I mean, the crazy thing about it is though with the Chiefs though, when they traded away Travis Kelsey, he just got better. Like I mean, he straight
Hmm.
demolished it over there in Oakland. But when you look at Demarco to the Eagles, that was nothing fantastic right there. I mean, that was the huge thing about that is like I said earlier, offensive line is one of the most important things in a game. And when DeMarco left that offensive line, there was nothing else for him to go to. It was just hard for him.
Hmm.
So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you're right; it takes some balls, man. Especially to face him two times, it's hard, man. Because then you feel it. When you're going against that team, you feel like you've been betrayed, and all you want to do is hurt them, that type of thing. It's crazy. It definitely takes some balls.
Okay, all right. Now let's switch over conferences and talk about the NFC. Starting off with the NFC East. Now you got Philly, the Cowboys, Redskins, and the Giants. What do you see coming out of that division?
Well, Philadelphia always every year looks pretty good. They got a pretty amazing defense. I mean, over the last two seasons, though, nothing super remarkable out of them. But before that, they were just demolishing and killing. But like after that, the Cowboys just straight came up out of nowhere, man. I mean, it was like 1 second you're like, holy crap, look at the Eagles, they're
Hmm.
amazing, and then they just fell off the planet, and then the Cowboys just took their spot. It's crazy, man. The Cowboys have really been at the top and really getting their game straight. Their offense was something to go against last season. I mean, just as to prove that fact, they made it to the Super Bowl. I
Yeah.
mean, they did lose, but it does not just any team makes it to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. I mean, you have to give credit where credit's due. These guys, even though they didn't win the big show, they still came out and won it all. Went through
Mm-hmm.
win the division, get through, and
Mm-hmm.
win in playoffs. And that's not something that you can do easily with your eyes closed or with just anybody. You have to be top tier
Exactly.
to get there.
Mm-hmm. For
Now,
sure, man.
now, who do you see coming out of this? Let's go on record and see who you got winning this division.
For the NFC East, I mean, I'll definitely put all my eggs in in Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they rip it up every season, but it's not. I mean, I wouldn't put all my money in there. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. Because honestly, with the Redskins having new coaching, it's definitely a possibility. They did pretty good in that Week 1 game. Nothing amazing, but I mean, it was definitely a hard fought battle, and I think that they could definitely give the Cowboys a run for their money.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, now let's go ahead and go on to the next, the NFC North. You have the Packers, Detroit Lions, Bears, and Minnesota. What do you see coming out of there?
It's definitely a hard. I mean, that division itself is definitely like a huge roller coaster. One team will be on top, the other team will be on top, and then the next thing you know, they'll be at the bottom. That is a roller coaster division if I've ever saw one. Um, the Bears are definitely a very good team in that division. Every year, it's pretty crazy. The thing that which really baffled me, is that they haven't made it to the Super Bowl yet. I mean, like I said, I mean that's a very good division, but there's always that one team that just every year is definitely very, very consistent with winning, but again, up and down. The Green Bay Packers are definitely very good with Aaron Rodgers and stuff in the backfield. However, they did just lose Jordy Nelson not too long
Mm.
ago, and he was a very big part of that offense. So to see what they do this year, I mean, they won that Week 1, but we'll really have to see where they go. I mean, along with the Detroit Lions too. They destroyed the Giants. They did a very good job in that game. Again, last year being 4-12, but the year before that being 9-8 or something like that. It was definitely crazy to go from a season like that to a season like that.
Mm.
So like I said, very roller coaster. You'll have to see. And then you have the Vikings, who they're a crazy team. Either how they work is either the whole beginning half of the season they'll be losing and be awful, and you'll think nothing's happening. Then right when that half hits, they're amazing and they do very, very well. Or it's the opposite way. They do very, very well and then do very, very poorly.
Mm.
Huge roller coaster right there. Like I said, that division is just a roller coaster of emotions. um, not knowing what's going to happen every year.
Now, last question for this division: does the Calvin trade get them back to 4-12? I mean, because if you think about Calvin receiver, yes, he's 33, and you even said it yourself, he could still ball. Now, does those close games, who do they have to close that out? To give them that extra push, get to the field goal position to kick that last winning field goal or last minute touchdown, last second touchdown, things like that. I mean, does that
Right.
hurt them for this season?
It definitely hurts them a little bit. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, they have young players who are ready to get in there and show what they got. I mean, ever since the last 2 seasons, 2 years, Corey Fuller has been intensely studying under Kelvin Johnson and really taking over his position. He's an amazing kid. He's super quick, catches just about everything thrown to him. I really think that he can take over Calvin Johnson's spot and really revitalize it for himself. I mean, it's definitely going to be a struggle. I don't know if they're going to do anything amazing this season, but I definitely think with some time and effort, he can get in there and take over that spot. Now, Corey Fuller, however, isn't the only person going to be in there trying to make all those plays. I mean, last season they picked up Devin Adams, who's been doing very well. He didn't quite do what they wanted for him last season, but this season he said he's going to come in and really help this organization better understand what they want him to do, which I think is going to be really good. I mean, honestly, when he came in, he was kind of filling Golden Tate's shoes. Ever since he left and got traded, Calvin Johnson didn't have a double to really help him out there, other than Corey Fuller, who was doing amazing. Except Corey Fuller liked to be in the slot receiver spot, other than Golden Tate, who liked being on the outside with Calvin. Adams was supposed to come in there and help that, but like I said, it wasn't amazing last year for him. But this year, he says he's really going to make an effort and try and do better for this organization. If not, then we don't know what's going to happen to Adams in his career. But then you have Tavarius Harvin, who they picked up last season, and he just nobody. I mean, just like Tom Brady, who was undrafted. I mean, this kid, no one saw him doing anything, but I mean, he straight tore it up last year. He tore it up last week with the game against the Giants, over 100 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. And then you have their always amazing Eric Ebron, who is almost the number one passer. I mean, that kid is just amazing. I mean, he's I mean, ever since
He's a
Rob
big target. He's
Gronkowski
a big
got
target.
old. Oh yeah, ever since Rob Gronkowski got old, you never really saw him anymore. But Eric Ebron just took the spotlight and ran with it. I mean, he's really good.
But you ain't lying about the it's a roller coaster. I mean, you got the Vikings last year 7-9, 6-10 Packers, and then 4-12 Lions. I mean, it looks like the Chicago Bears are sitting there by themselves in a nice throne winning that division. Let's see what happens. Now we have
Hmm.
the NFC South. You have the Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, Falcons. Now, Panthers still have Cam Newton. Went 8-8 last year, but drafted a rookie quarterback in the second round, but then traded him to to the Redskins. But now, I mean, does Cam Newton, can he stay healthy at that age?
Oh yeah, I mean he's Superman, dude. I mean he straight rips his chest open every game, shows that S on his chest, and I think he could definitely. I mean he's a big dude. He's
Yeah.
definitely really good. I think he can definitely keep it going for another year. Um, he's definitely a really good guy. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
he actually I mean if he does leave next year, hopefully this year they actually make it to the playoffs, because I know every year they look for that spot, but they always keep breaking even. You know what I mean? The Panthers never really
You're
get close enough
you're not
year
lying
after year.
because you have this division looks wide open. I mean, the Saints did pull out the division win, or the division leader, with only Tampa Bay one game behind, and then the Falcons and the Panthers going 8-8, which is two
Mhm.
games behind. I mean, this looks like a pretty even division if there's any other in this league. I think this one is right there toe to toe for all four teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're definitely really good. Other than the Falcons, they suck. No, just kidding. I play around. But no, yeah. I mean, they're definitely a very even matched division right there. I mean, the Saints usually almost always go to the top. But like you said, I mean, there's that one game or those key moments that could flip the script really quick.
True. I mean,
For
division
sure.
games are different. No matter how many times you have beaten the other team at any given Sunday, I mean, they face you twice a year, every year. And just like the last year's Panthers, and when they went 15-1, the only people that beat them was the Atlanta Falcons. And that's just because they know their game plan. They've studied them in and out for 2 years. I mean, 2 games every year. You never know what could happen within those division games. I mean, if you look at it in NFC South, it was the Saints were on 4-2, Tampa Bay 3-3, 3-3 Panthers, 2-4 Falcons. I mean, that looks like those guys are going back and forth within divisions themselves. And I mean, who do you see? Do you got the Saints coming out, or do you think one of these three other teams can actually overtake the Saints this year?
Honestly, man, I actually do think that it's possible the Buccaneers could overtake the
Mm.
Saints this year. I think it's definitely a possibility. Um, yeah, I definitely
Oh,
see the Buccaneers coming up top this season for sure.
okay, all you Saints fans that want to take it out on somebody, if Hunter's the guy, he's the one that said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are gonna take over the Saints. Who dat? It's the Buccaneers. That's who dat. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You skipped a division though, man.
Oh
NFC
wait.
West.
Oh wait.
But
Oh my God. You know what? It's okay.
uh,
I'm gonna go ahead and edit that in the editing room. You got the NFC
oh, I
West.
was I was gonna I was gonna make a joke, but never mind.
No, go ahead. Go
Because
ahead.
like
I mean, I guess
I
we're
was yeah, because
live.
you totally yeah, I was gonna say you totally forgot about him. I was gonna be like, it's like, oh, it'd be easy to not remember him or anything like that. None of them won in week one. They're all 0-1.
Oh
So not
damn.
much amazingness coming from him.
Now, who do
Oh
you
man,
have? I mean, does the Seahawks? Are they going to consistently win this division, or is it one of the teams going to step up?
I don't know, man. It may be one of those divisions that like none of them really win, but like
Hmm.
whoever wins the most get to be at top. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, where like they'll go like 5 and 10 or whatever, but still make it to the top because they were the one that won the most. At least about how it's looking here. I mean, honestly, the years before that though, the Seahawks and the Cardinals were definitely at the top there, and to just see all of them lose first week, it's crazy.
I mean, if you look at last year's records, I mean, the Rams and Saints were not even, 50%, but the San Francisco 49ers were only 3 games behind. I mean,
Hmm.
could the San Francisco 49ers overtake them?
It's a possibility, man. It's definitely a possibility.
All right. I guess that's all of them. That's all of them this time, right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for participating in this, power rankings, given the history of the league, and be able to give us that information, that inside information that maybe not all the coaches know about each team, or even the fans know about each team. But
Hmm.
it's going to be exciting this year. I think it's going to be different. So far, no one has dominated the Super Bowl rankings. It's always been a different different team every year. You never know. You say repeat for the Dolphins, but like you said, you never know. Especially with the AFC so strong and so powerful with different
Hmm.
teams coming up like that.
For sure, man. For sure.
All right, cool. Well, we're just gonna sign off. This is Ben Yohanan, and we have
This is Hunter. Thanks for having me out here, Ben. It was pretty awesome talking to you. But yeah, man, if you ever need anything, just come back at me and we'll keep talking.
definitely. Well, this is Ben Hunter and Ben for Synergy Football League News radio broadcasts, sending you all the power rankings and all the exclusive access to this league, the things you want to know, the things that happen in the, trade deadlines and trades going on in the back doors and the offices of these organizations. And we'll keep bringing it to you all season long. Take care and goodbye.
Yep. Goodbye, guys.